Hey y'all, and welcome to Let's Talk Sis. I'm Shekinah, your host, and as we spend time together, I can promise you three things. I'll be honest, I'll make you laugh, and I won't hold back. Let's Talk Sis is your essential girl talk destination where you'll hear about life from the perspective of a black woman in America, as our stories often go untold. I can assure you, while honest, we are a community for growth and love. Remember to like, subscribe, and share the podcast. Now sit back, relax, and let's talk, sis. Okay. Hello. Welcome back, family. Welcome to another episode of Let's Talk Sis. This is your ultimate girl talk destination, and I am so excited to have y'all back with us for another week. We're going to have a really awesome talk. Today, I have my godmom, Miss Elisa Flowers, on the pod. Hello, how are you? I call her Auntie Mommy, so
I am doing well. How are you?
I am great. I'm so excited to have this conversation. This is something you and I have never talked about before, so it'll be fun to get the tea. I'm excited.
Yes. This is going to be interesting.
Are you nervous?
A little bit. Um, yeah, just a little bit because I have to be who I really am
Yes.
and share that with
Yes.
different people. So just a little.
Just a little. It's cool. This platform was created for exactly that. So you can come, be yourself, tell your story unapologetically, and we'll get to know you for real. So before we get into our talk today, I just want to read your bio. So Elisa Flowers is a cultivated visionary designer specializing in creating people-centered spaces that seamlessly blend form, function, and psychology to inspire and support well being. With over 4 decades of marriage, 5 children, 10 grandchildren, she possesses a profound understanding of the connections between people and their environments. Elisa believes that just as a neglected home shows signs of wear, a person's internal struggles can manifest outwardly, influencing both their experience and their surroundings. Her designs are deeply influenced by her faith in Jesus Christ and her commitment to helping people heal from the inside out. Grounded in years of education and hands on experience, Elisa embodies a strong grasp of both physical spaces and emotional needs, making her, making her unique ability to intertwine human experience as well as well built environments a defining strength in every single project. So, as you can see, her background is very well designed. All my life, she's been a creative and an inspiration for me as well in the creative space. So, I'm excited to talk with her today. But before we begin, I want to ask you just an icebreaker question just to hopefully take some of the edge off. So, tell me, tell me what younger you would be proud of about your life and how you're living today.
That's a good question. Um, I think, no, I don't even think. I believe that younger me would be proud of the fact that I know who I am now.
Mm,
Whereas in past times, I would morph into the situation, you
mhm.
know. So now there's no more morphing.
Yeah.
When we show up in a room, you find Elisa Flowers. You don't find my little girl. Maybe sometimes if you hit the right trigger, but
Yes.
um,
Yes.
not all the time. When I come in, I bring Elisa Flowers.
I love that. I love that. And that's such um a special, I don't know, power or ability or whatever the right word is to have, because a lot of times it's we do shrink or we do morph, as you use the word, to what's happening around us, and it takes a certain level of confidence and assurance and maybe even experience to be able to truly walk in who you are and own, all aspects of who you are. So I love that. I'm proud of that too. So That's
Thank
awesome.
you.
Yes. So now, guys, we're going to set the mood for a good conversation. And as you know, I like to have us light a candle together and just, set the mood. Scent is so powerful in controlling energy and has some amazing effects. So tell us what candle you're burning today and how that scent, helps for you.
The candle that I'm burning today is called Vanilla Orchard.
Ooh,
And I like it because it's soothing. It's calming. It's not, how some candles you light them and you want to run out the room or
yeah.
run away. It kind of keeps you anchored.
Yeah.
It's not overwhelming, it's not overpowering. It just helps to set a nice soft atmosphere.
Is the orchard like appley type, fruity type scent or?
Oh, and that's what
Okay.
I like about it. And
Okay.
why are you called orchard? But it's not as it doesn't have a fruity base to it. It's just a real
Okay.
smooth smell.
I love that. Vanilla is like that. It's like you said, it's a nice base anchoring kind of smell. So I love that. I am just classic today. I have a lavender candle. I think we all are familiar with a lavender scent. It's similar to yours. It's a little more tranquil and relaxing. So I love lavender and anything. So all right, y'all. So we're gonna get into my auntie mommy's business a little bit today, but as I read in her bio, she's been married for over 4 decades. How long exactly have you and Uncle Bob been married?
43 years. It will
40.
be 44 in June.
Nice. So they're coming up on 44 years of marriage. Okay, and they are. I'm sure a lot of us can relate to this. One of the very few couples that I know who have been married that long, and it's beautiful and it's amazing. And so today we're here to learn all that we can for those of us aspiring to do the same as to how we can make it, 44 years and beyond, a lifetime. I mean, that's the goal, right? When you get married. So I want to go back to the beginning. Take me back to tell me your love story. How did you meet Uncle Bob? Where were you guys? What was y'all doing? Did he come up to you? Did you tell me all the things?
You know what? There is such a backdrop to
Uh-oh.
he and I. We met at church.
Okay.
He came to Bethlehem Temple. Oh my gosh, he had to be between 8 and 10. And they had moved from Mississippi up here. And so he came in and, just some little kid, no big deal.
Eight
And
and 10 years old?
yeah,
Oh,
between 8 and
wow.
10, yeah. Yeah.
Okay.
We've known each other for a very long time. His
Wow.
dad and my dad and his mom and my mom they ended up being really good friends.
Wow.
Actually, when my mother-in-law passed on, my mother spoke at her funeral and hashed over some old memories.
Mhm, mhm.
But so we met in church and we went to school together. Um, did not like him. Did not. They used to call him Bullet. Um,
Really?
because he was tall and back then I think he's been 6'1" all his life and even as a kid. And so he kind of just stood head and shoulders above everyone
Yeah.
and just awkward,
Yeah.
no big deal, Mississippi,
Mm-hmm.
that kind of thing. I'm a northerner. And so
Yep.
he's called me ugly. He told me that. He used to say, I used to think you're like one of the ugliest things there. Um,
What?
and that's how we started off.
Hmm.
But um we grew up, I guess, and that's kind of interesting to say we grew up because in growing up we got married at 19,
Wow. Which is
a
still
week into
young.
my 19th birthday. That's not grown.
Not at all.
Not at all. That's not grown. So that's how it started. We got to know each other in church.
Okay.
That was it.
So when did it change from I don't really like you to you're kind of cute. Maybe I'm interested. Did he make
Well,
that first move or what happened
you know what? That's so funny. You're gonna make me be so honest, and
there?
I don't know that I want to be. um, I'm not gonna even say it was like you're so cute.
Uh-huh.
This is what happened.
Okay.
So I wasn't at church for a couple of years. I
Okay.
turned 16. You
You
know,
was grown.
let me lay this. I'm the oldest girl out of 9 children,
Wow.
but the third in line. Okay. So
Okay.
I
Two
was
older
old.
brothers.
I was old.
Okay.
And so at 16, I made some decisions. I'm not hanging out at church. I'm working. I'm going to school. I'm not doing the church thing as much as
Hmm, hmm,
the
hmm.
way it was instilled in us.
Okay.
So I kind of kept going. And then I was hitting 18. I was still in school, but 12th grade. And they had a convention at church. And I was home by myself. And I was like, "Oh, let me go to church."
Hmm.
And so I went to church, and
Okay.
James was there, and he dared me. He didn't dare me, but he said, "Are you coming back tomorrow?" I said, "I don't know." "No, you're not coming.
Hmm,
You're not.
hmm.
Don't tell me what I'm not going to do."
Okay.
That kind of attitude. And I came back because of what he said.
Uh-huh.
Had he
Okay.
not said that, I probably wouldn't have gone back. And this is the church that I grew up. These are the people that I knew.
Mhm.
But because he said that, I went back. And then from there, he was hot on my heels.
Okay, girl. Oh, all right. Okay, I'm here for that. So, okay. So you went back, you guys started dating, talking, flirting around. And so fast forward to a proposal. Tell me what the proposal was like. How did he propose? Were you shocked? Did you see it coming? You were very young. I mean, 18, 19. I don't know how long it was between proposal and engagement, but or between proposal and marriage.
18 to 19.
Mm-hmm.
I was
Okay.
18 when he proposed.
Okay.
And because of our community, because of our culture back then,
Right.
you married young
Yeah.
and you raised a family. And even though I took that little hiatus for a little bit, everything that was instilled in us was still there.
Sure.
So it felt like the right thing to do. And so we only dated maybe 3 months.
Wow.
Do I suggest that today? Absolutely not. But uh, my
It is
daughters,
what
my
it is.
grandchildren, nope.
Uh-uh.
I don't suggest that. So 3 months in, he proposed, and we were over a friend's house, and we were just chilling, hanging out. He still has an uncle who was like his right arm, his
Okay.
bud. He was there too. And he just asked me to marry him. And I was like, okay. So that's what we did. I think I even broke off with him a couple of times. And the last time I said, "You know what? I'm not doing this." He said, "Fine, I'm not doing this either. You're not going to keep breaking up with me. I'm just not going to be
Uh-huh.
emotionally scarred."
Uh-huh.
And I
Uh-huh.
was like, "Give me my ring back. I'm just teasing." Just ridiculous. That's the,
I mean, you were young. I mean, I can't blame you. That's a life decision
yes, I
at
was
18. I cannot imagine. I cannot imagine. I cannot
girl.
imagine. So, okay, so you said you wouldn't recommend that today. Why wouldn't you recommend that today, whereas you felt comfortable doing it, in your life?
One reason was the reason I felt comfortable in my life because it was who we were.
Mm,
And I had the support system. My dad was there. My mom was there. My brothers and sisters. We knew our community. I knew his dad. I knew his mom. I
yeah.
knew his sisters and his brothers.
Hmm, hmm,
And we just knew everybody. And even when the day of
hmm,
my wedding was huge.
hmm,
The day of my wedding, standing with my dad, and they were getting ready to open the door so I could walk in. My father looked at me and said, "You don't have to do this if you don't want to."
hmm,
And I'm shaking like,
hmm, hmm, hmm.
he said, "You
Yeah.
don't have to do this." And come to find out, even afterwards, my husband told me, he said, before the wedding, that day of the wedding, in the back room, my father told him, he said, "If you ever feel like you need to lay hands on her, you better bring her home.
Yeah.
I'm going to lay hands on you."
As he should.
as he should. My godfather, who was like
Hmm.
a whole 5'2", said the same thing. My husband stands at 6'1", and my godfather told him, he said, if you ever touch her.
Yeah,
So that made for a different foundation,
sure.
you
Hmm.
know? So that's why I feel like it was okay for me. But one of the biggest reasons I don't suggest it today is because the dynamics are different. And
Hmm.
one thing I learned about myself, I didn't know myself.
Hmm. Hmm. Hmm.
I didn't know who I was. And that affects everything.
Yeah. So let's talk about that. We opened the show with, you saying now today you know who you are, but how did that dynamic come into play in your relationship with not knowing who you are? And then what was that process of figuring it out outside of being, someone's wife or mother? We didn't talk about when how old you were when you first started having children, but I imagine you were still young then too. So I'm sure
Mhm.
that helped play a part. So tell me just a little bit about that dynamic.
I think this is funny, but it's going to sound crazy. But I think hormones play a big part of it.
Okay.
Um, just growing naturally and paying attention to different things. What's that movie, The Runaway Bride, with Julia? What's her
Oh, Pretty Woman?
Pretty,
No,
not Pretty
not
Woman,
Pretty Woman,
same actress, but I
but
think it was called
I
Runaway
can't think
Bride,
about
something
it.
on that order.
Yeah.
But she would always run at the altar.
Mhm.
And then towards the end, she had this whole row of eggs because she ate eggs according to each person she was with.
Mhm.
She didn't know what she liked. Did she like
Mm.
boiled eggs, scrambled eggs, that type of thing? So it was part of that process was learning, what do I like?
Mhm.
It took me, I remember hitting 24 and saying, okay, these are the things I like.
Mhm.
I didn't like this. I didn't like that they said marry young and bear children.
Mhm.
I didn't like that because I didn't plan on if I would have stuck to what I liked, three of my children wouldn't be here today
Mm.
because I wanted two kids, a boy and a girl.
And be
And
done. Mhm.
so being cocooned in what we thought was correct for
Yeah.
who we were and growing up that way, it made such an impact on who we thought we were actually designed to be. Does that make
Mm.
sense?
Yeah. Yeah.
So just living and getting to taste different things, to
Mhm.
read different things, to go different places, that's when you start realizing, okay, this is what I like. This is who I
Yeah.
am. Let me be true about what I'm doing.
Mhm.
I remember James came home one day and he'll tell you this story. He'll tell you this story. And I had cooked. I didn't like cooking.
Mhm.
I didn't. I mean, I like hammers. I like nails.
Yeah.
I like steel toe boots,
Mhm. Mhm.
that type of thing. I didn't like cooking. I didn't like being in the kitchen.
The domestic
And
aspect.
but I did that because I thought that's what I was supposed to be because I'm married. I now have two children, blah, blah, blah. And he came home and I had cooked dinner. And I said, um, okay, how was dinner? You didn't have enough salt in the potatoes. I got salt for your potatoes, sir. You
Okay.
know, and so he will tell you this
Yeah.
is not who she is. And I give him so much credit because instead of becoming this resentful man, he began to embrace
That's
who
so
I
beautiful.
was and he could separate it.
Yeah.
So, okay, I'll never say that again. And
I'll
it's
just go
in,
get my own salt.
okay, I'll go get my own salt. I'll make my own potatoes. As a matter
About
of fact,
that?
I'll go grow them.
How about that?
Um,
Yeah.
and today he's an excellent cook.
Yeah.
I'm a good cook. So it's just when you can have to be so young, to marry so young, and to have a James Flowers. Everybody doesn't have a James Flowers. And we morphed together. So I hope I answered your question,
No,
man.
you did. And, you touch on a lot of really good things because I've never been married a day in my life. And I am still learning, like you said, okay, what do I like? What are the things that I actually enjoy? And we grow up and our parents and our outside influences, they mean well, by trying to give us these guidelines or these expectations or goals or metrics or whatever to hit in life and to be in life and to accomplish in life. But there is something in you that has to like click and say, okay, I hear you, but like this is what I want to do and
Mhm.
this is how I'm going to do it, right? And we're fortunate to find people that embrace that, like you said, that accept that and that don't try to criticize or nitpick how we want to live our lives, and being women, being Black women, it's hard a lot of times to stand fully in, no, I don't like to cook. And that is okay. Right.
Yeah.
And it's the second part that we struggle with. It's the that's okay part that's very hard a lot of times to reconcile because we have all these people. Well, if you ain't cooking for them, somebody else gonna cook for them, or that's what a good wife does, and that your grandmother would never, or whatever the
Right.
rhetoric
Right.
is. And it's like, no, we gonna do this how we're gonna, this is our marriage, right? I am me, he is who he is, and God willing, like you said, we can morph together. And I think that's beautiful, that you have somebody in your life that is embracing those factors and willing to learn, okay, this may be what I thought it was going to be, but this is actually what it is. So how can we work with that? And so I think a lot of women can really appreciate that testimony, and hopefully embrace it for themselves and, take a look at, okay, well, do I even like eggs? First of all, you know what I mean?
Mhm.
Like I'm doing all of this stuff and I don't even like this thing. And we deserve to take a beat, to take a minute and see, what we love. So definitely answered the question.
That can I say something on what you
Yeah.
just said about how our parents and different things influence our life? I remember this so well. And I mean, it wasn't 100 years ago that my mom said this. It was maybe 25, close to 100.
Mhm.
But we together, we had been married maybe 10 years maybe, and we were trying to make this work. You're supposed to put your money together, you're supposed to budget together, you're supposed to do all this. And we tried that.
Mhm.
And it
Mhm.
almost killed us. It just did.
Yeah.
He would write a check but wouldn't tell me.
Uh-huh. Uh-huh.
These type of things. We finally split our accounts.
Mm.
This what you gonna do? This what I'm gonna do? I got this, you got that. And I remember my mom telling me years later, she said, y'all don't put your money together? Not the old traditional way like you think. And she said, you need to put your money together. I said, I can't, it doesn't work for us.
Mhm.
That does
Mhm.
not work for us. That worked for you. It doesn't work for us.
Yeah.
And even today,
That's just not how you do it.
it's not how we do it. And I remember going to a bank. Now, our names are in each other accounts,
Sure.
which is wisdom.
Mhm.
But I went to his bank and I had to get some money out. And the guy knows my husband.
Mhm.
He said, man, your wife came and got some money out your account. Yeah. He said, you not worried? No. He said, I would never give my wife my account number.
Ooh.
He was like, my wife will never take from me either.
Ooh.
So that's the
Different
difference.
strokes for different folks. Yeah,
Yeah.
and that's so good. You do have to identify those things that work for you in your relationship, and even your relationship with yourself and how you treat yourself and how you care for yourself. You can hear all these different things about how you're supposed to show up as a wife and what you need to look like as a wife and what you need to be like as a wife, but it's like okay, that don't me trying to figure out a meal plan every day is driving me crazy. You know, I can't focus on the things that I actually love. So that might be what you doing in your household, and more power to you. But over here, I'm only cooking on Wednesdays, or whatever,
Okay.
whatever it has
Okay.
to be. But at the end of the day, we get to make our relationships with ourselves, with our spouses, what works best for us. And also, I want to encourage people to just try things, try something new. If this thing is constantly becoming the topic of argument, you constantly writing the check and not telling me, okay, let's try something else, let's do something different, and not just sacrifice the whole marriage. We'll throw the whole marriage away because we can't seem to get this money thing straight. Well, let's try something different, let's try something that will actually work for us. So what do you think has been the biggest, or a couple of the biggest things, that have sustained you and Uncle Bob over these past 44 years?
Um, Not to be so spiritual, but it's absolutely true. It's the grace of God.
Amen.
It's forgiveness.
Hmm.
It's patience. It's those things that people throw to the side now,
Mm.
because if it had not been for the Lord Jesus Christ on my side, I would not
Right, right, right. No,
I
but for
wouldn't have
real.
made it. And I
Yeah.
mean it's true, because one thing, if you don't know how to forgive, hang it up.
Yeah.
That's huge. That is
Hmm.
so huge. And this is how polar opposite James and I are. He can make me mad, and I'm gonna be like, you got to give me a minute,
Hmm.
because within myself, I got to walk it out.
Hmm.
I can make him upset. He'll be grinning and giggling in about 5 minutes,
Ugh.
which makes me crazy.
Yes.
I'm like, stop talking to me, or
Yes.
whatever.
Yes. Yes.
And
Yes.
he knows that. I know it. So those
Talk to
things.
me about what that for like what does that look like? Because you get into it about the potatoes not having enough salt, right? Now we have this argument, and I'm still mad. Right? You said sorry. Hopefully, maybe the other person has said sorry. I didn't mean to, right? But I'm still upset. I'm still hurt. And so, what does that look like to actually forgive, and then speak to, like, well, I can't just let him think he could just constantly come and talk to me about, the salt and the potatoes, like, but and not forgetting or letting it go, or do you let it go? Do you hold on to it in your memory bank? Do you keep the score? Like, what is that process like? Really forgiving somebody for the little things, because I think
Okay.
the big offenses, we know, okay, we got to talk it out, we got to come to understanding, we have these come to Jesus moments, cool. But I think it's the little stuff that adds up, and that, like I say, you keep that tally. Well, you did the same thing last week or whatever. What does that actually look like?
To me, I think communication is what helps you to get through that, because the little things. Why are you so upset because I said it needs more potatoes on more salt on
Mm-hmm.
my potatoes? Because it makes me feel like I don't do things right.
Mm.
Why? Because when I was a kid, my brother or my sister used to always say, you'll never cook right. You don't never do this right.
Mm.
So just to sit down and talk about these things, this is how I felt when you said that to me. Like I can't get it right. You already know I hate cooking, but now you're going to
Mm-hmm.
make me feel even worse
That's so
because
good.
I didn't do it right.
That's so
And at that
good.
time, if you're married to a human being, or they'll say, "Oh my God, I didn't realize that.
Sure.
I'm so sorry. I'll never do it again."
Yeah.
Um, I think those are big, big keys. I mean, because for you to get, or me, I'm gonna say me, to get so upset about something small, there's a
Mm-hmm.
trigger.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So
Mm-hmm.
let's
Mm-hmm.
let's talk about it. And a lot of people don't realize this or identify these things. But once you stop and say, even to yourself, why did that make me so angry?
Yes.
Or why are you so angry because I said cover your mouth when you sneeze?
Mhm. Mhm.
You
Mhm.
know, because here's a scripture. It's the small fox that destroy the vines.
Mhm.
So let's pluck out the small foxes.
Mhm.
Let's look at the small foxes so we don't destroy a family. Let's
That's
see
so
what it
good.
is. Let's see why you don't like my red shoes.
Mhm.
Because my grandma kicked me with some red shoes. You know,
Mhm.
you see what I'm
You
saying?
never know. Yeah.
You never know. So I think communication and being able to stop and say, even within yourself, I'm not going to be offended by this. I I was at Hobby Lobby today. I had to talk to myself. I was looking for a notebook. I'm looking
Uh-huh.
for a notebook. And I'm walking through and I just had a small question. And where are your notebooks? I've already gone through this section over here. Do you even carry notebooks?
Mhm.
And I saw a worker. She opened the door and she's stepping out. And I said, hey, I'm on lunch.
Mhm.
Okay.
Right, get the
I had to
scratch in the
talk
forehead.
to myself because I was
Yeah.
like, don't you put your little pack of pens down and walk out the store. Because she didn't do what you would have
Right.
done, which would have been like, I would have never said that. I would have said,
Right. Just
well,
out
what's your
10.
question? How can I? Yeah, I'll sick. Sophie, you know what? Let me walk you over there. But my father told my mother something, and my mother told me this. She said, your daddy told me, don't you judge everybody on who you are because everybody ain't you.
That part. That part. That's so
Okay.
good.
So I had to talk to myself and say, she's not me.
Yeah.
Keep your pens because you know you need them.
Right, that part.
Walk your behind down this aisle.
Because he ain't gonna be
Look,
mad. I ain't got no pins either.
right, right. So it's like, go on and find your notebook because you've been looking for about half an
Yes.
hour. Get your
Yes.
little notebook, stop being offended, and go.
Yes.
And so,
That's
because
so good.
I would have hurt myself. Who gets hurt
Yeah.
in? I do.
Yes. Yes.
Because I was mad because she was like, I ain't on lunch. I'm on lunch.
Uh-uh.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. No, that's so good. So what I'm hearing you say, is it starts with yourself, right? It starts with looking into, okay, why did this even become this thing for me? Because I think a lot of times, young in love, young in maturity, young in emotional intelligence, you often first point at the other person. Well, he shouldn't have said that. He should have known, the efforts and the this and the that I put into making this food. And he knows better than that, right? But it's like, why is that even a problem for you? What in you is being activated to be triggered by this? And maybe it was just downright wrong. Maybe it was just downright mean or hateful or whatever. And okay, you've explored it and you've come to that conclusion. But a lot of times it is something within ourselves that we haven't processed, or that subconsciously is being reactivated, in this moment. And we owe it to the success of this marriage, to the success of this union, to communicate about that, right? Because like I said, I'm not married, but I've been in my relationship for 4 years. And when we first got together, I was so quick to just be like, well, I'm done with this. I'm not going to do this no more. I'm done. I'm over it. I'm done. I'm over it. I'm done. I'm over it. And, he had to tell me, like, you the one always trying to back out of this, right? You the one always trying to throw this thing away. Like, if we're going to be in this together, we got to be in it. We got to figure it out. We got to go deeper. We got to have the conversation. Because my whole thing was, I don't want to have to explain myself to you. I don't want to have to explain my emotions. I don't want to have to explain. But really, I am, spiting myself, because I shouldn't. I If I'm triggered by something, it is my responsibility to deal with that for myself, right? And I have to have the ask those questions of myself. I have to still process and deal with it with myself. And it wasn't so much that I didn't want to explain myself. It was I didn't know what to explain or what to say. I'm just mad. I'm just irritated. You just made me upset. So you shouldn't did that. Right. But there's a certain level of maturity that comes, and you have to say, okay, yeah, you made me mad, but why? Yeah, this hurt me, but why? Yeah, this upset me, but why? So that, next time we enter an exchange like this or something similar, it's not all on you. I have to check my triggers. I have to check myself and not always assume because I don't like it, it was meant for an offense or it was meant to hurt me or it was meant for, whatever ill intent word you want to put there. So, I think that's really powerful for people to digest. Like before we get to pointing fingers and blaming other people, let's take a moment and
Yeah.
really ask ourselves those questions of like why this is happening.
Right.
So you spoke on it a little bit, but tell me a little bit more about how your faith plays a part in your relationship because um, a lot of times people don't find community um in their churches or in people of the similar faith or they feel condemned or ashamed of maybe owning up to problems or questions or issues that they're having in their relationship. So just tell me a little bit about how that has helped you in your marriage.
I got a whole thought that's, I'm like, do I want to go that way? Um, I believe that God's will for me is perfect. Um, and that's where I start with. And I start with how much he loves me,
Mhm,
how much he cares for me, what he thinks about me and what he wants to see with me. So I use that and I start with that. And that's how I may look at other things,
that's
if I
so
can
good.
say that.
Yeah.
Like in relationships outside of marriage, are you treating me the same way that God expects me to be treated?
Mm-hmm.
Um, are you loving me the way that I deserve to be loved?
Yeah.
So when I believe that one, God will take me through things, when I believe that God wants the best for me, when I believe He will teach me, He will lead me, He will guide me, when I believe these things, and that is my foundation, I'm going to use that same belief over here.
That's good.
So if I believe that my best will is not your intention,
Mm-hmm.
and I've looked at the relationship, I've explored the relationship, I've looked at me, and I understand that truthfully, because I'm going to treat you like I believe you should be treated as well.
Mm-hmm.
But if I find that your intent is not good, my triggers are not popping off, you got a problem. I'm not going to dog you. I'm going to understand that you haven't dealt with what's going on in your life.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And maybe there needs to be some space.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Maybe you need to get that all fixed and figured out.
Mm-hmm.
So like even with we've James and I have we've had some ugly spots in our life.
Mm-hmm.
And it's not because of him, just him and I not getting along. It's because life's.
Mm-hmm.
Life be
Amen.
life like it ain't got no sense.
Yeah.
And if I don't understand, if I am hopeless,
Yeah.
if I'm hopeless, I'm not gonna make it.
Yep.
So I
Yep.
always I have to see where the hope is. If there's no hope, let's shift. We got to do something different. Let's move a different direction. Let's stay together, but let's shift together.
Sure.
I hope this is making sense
Yeah.
without saying everything, because if was to go to our whole 43 plus years, we'll be here till next week.
Listen. Okay.
So just when you have hope, when you have faith, not ignorance,
Yes. Yes.
not what's the word? Not ignorance, not mindful bliss or
Yep.
mindless
Yep.
bliss.
Yep. I understand.
You
You gotta be
hold
real.
onto those things and you can make it.
Yeah.
Life will settle down. Just trust the process.
Yes. That's so
Trust
good.
the process. That's wrong. That tends to be what's wrong with a lot. We won't trust the
Yes.
process. My granddaughter lives with us, and we know I've been remodeling the house for years now. But
All my life.
okay, it's so funny. I have a picture of you, and I'm just throwing this in. When the house was framed, the inside of the house was framed. We had it built over 20 years ago.
Uh-huh.
And
Uh-huh.
you and Brandon, I think it is, you're standing up looking through the boards like this. It's big, so but it's trust the process. But
Yes.
I have a chandelier that I hung up here, and it's wires, it's chains. It's not your
Yeah.
typical crystals and things, it's chains. And she came down and she said, I don't like that. And I looked at her and I said, trust the process.
Yes. Yes.
Can't always look at something and determine what it is in that moment.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Trust the process.
That's so
So
good.
if you have, if your partner and you have a plan and you literally love each other and God is in your life and you have a plan, trust it. If it's not quite working, it's okay to change it. So it's okay to change it. Um, I used to say this to my kids. I think I still do. And it's I'm going to be older longer than I'm going to be younger.
Mm-hmm.
So let me not be so crazy and stuck right here
Mm-hmm.
because I'm only young for, just for
Mm-hmm.
the short period. So I can make mistakes, I can change, I can move. But
Sure. Now. Mm-hmm.
yes, so when I get it right, I'd rather have it right in my later year than to be
Amen.
worried about changing it now.
Yeah. Let's do it now and then we can chill out over there in the
Yes,
latter
over
end.
there on the other
Yeah.
side,
Yeah.
will be a peace.
That's so good. So I want where you first started is which is extremely, I hope you guys caught it, but recognizing God's love for you and that his will for you is perfect. And that needs to reflect in everything and in your relationships, right? And that is the anchor piece for you moving forward. If you don't believe that what God has for you is good and is perfect, you won't have hope, you won't have faith, you won't believe that this process is going to end up well, you won't consider the possibilities of coming out on the other side in a better place or in a different place or in a place again that's meant for you. So I love that. Trust the process. It there will be a process, there will be changes, there will be trials and things that you have to go through, but you got to trust the process. You got to have faith in God and that be the anchor, the center point, the home piece, for everything else to then branch off and sprout from. So, I have a couple more questions, but we're coming up to the end of our time. So my last question I want to ask you, before people get married and now, right, whether they've been dating for 3 months, 3 years, or whatever, what are some things that you implore them to know or understand before entering a union if their goal is to make it a lifetime?
Once again, ignorance is not bliss.
Mm-hmm.
What is your credit score?
Mm-hmm.
What's your health record? Do you know how to plan for a year? Do you know how to plan for 5 years? One
So
good thing
good.
is, how do you see me? Have those conversations. How do
Have
you
the
see
conversation.
me? What do you think about me? If I were to do this, what would happen? And to be honest about it.
Yeah.
Let's be able to have honest conversations. I mean, because even, okay, back in our day, do you love the Lord? Do you know him?
Yes. Yes.
But today is, who is your Lord?
Ooh, okay.
Do you even believe?
That part.
You know, um, these type of things, have real conversations, go to real places, see how they really react.
Yes.
And if they fly off because of something small, you might want to look at that.
Red flag.
When it came out of nowhere, what? Are we going to deal with that? What we doing?
Yes.
You know, and I think understanding really because what is one of the biggest problems with people today is their finances, it's
Yeah.
money.
Mhm.
Okay, your credit score is 480. That's a shame because it's not going to even rate on the chart. But if it is, let me help you to get it to 625.
And do you even want my help?
Right. Do
Hmm.
you do you hear me?
Yes.
Okay.
Do you even want my? Are you even thinking that this needs help?
Right.
Yes.
That's so good, Shikana. That is so good. We're
Yeah.
having a Bible study with the kids, and I didn't force anybody. I just put it out there. Who wants to join? Join. And so we have motivation. We have money prizes, things like that. And one of the criteria, and we all hear it. I said, you're going to be graded on being present,
Hmm.
but you're going to be graded on your presence.
Mm.
So I'm in this relationship, but am I present in
Hmm.
this relationship?
Yep. So good.
So that's to me, those are things starting off.
Hmm.
Because guess what? 44 years. How many different people has James seen in this one person?
Okay. Yes. And he loves
Because
them all. Well, maybe not,
okay.
but
And it's so funny because he said something the other day, and I'm like, just go on and say it, man. So, do you think menopause affects how your attitude might be?
do you?
Am I showing signs?
Why
What's the
would you say
problem?
that?
Right.
Who said I was
You
supposed to
know,
be the partner?
we got married. Come on, we got married
Yeah.
and when I say 19, I was a week into my 19th birthday.
Yeah. Real baby.
Real babe, I am 63, going to be 64 soon.
Looking 21.
Oh, girl, thank you. He's seen all the peoples
Yeah.
in my life. So,
Right.
are you willing to make that shift? Are you willing to be there for me? This man carried me for the last 10 years because when I was diagnosed with multiple myeloma, he meant for better or for worse.
Yeah.
He stuck by me
Yeah.
and he met a woman. She was diagnosed almost the same time I was, and her husband left her within a year.
Oof.
Come on,
Raggedy.
raggedy. So how strong is your backbone?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Nick, I mean, we got issues over here. I told him, I said, look at you, better get your life together because I ain't wiping your behind.
Okay.
It's like, can we stay healthy together, sir?
Yes.
You know.
Okay. And if you know my Uncle Bob, that man muscles, abs poking out from here to there. So he's
Yeah.
good. So that's good. Yes. Having those conversations, asking those questions. Don't be ashamed. Don't be afraid. And if you don't know where to start, use these questions that we've just said. Ask Chat GPT, Google,
Okay.
ask somebody who's married, what do I need to ask? What should I know? Like there are too many resources out here to
Yes.
not do so, right? And if that person is offended or turned off or just about it, probably not the the one you need to be pursuing and marrying for life. And not to say people don't change, but I think like you were saying, there's a certain reflection of God's love and respect and care for me that you can see in a person. They may not like the conversation, they may be a little offended or not respond the best way, but there's something to somebody who's willing to try and who's putting their best foot forward and engaging with you in the best way they know how. And maybe they don't know how to answer some of these questions or
Mhm.
never even ask these questions of themselves, but the willingness to participate, the willingness to engage, the willingness to hear and listen and learn is a major key to sustainability. So, we like to challenge our audience with having a specific conversation. So, what's one thing you want our listeners to have a conversation either with their partner, with themselves, or someone in their community, given what we talked about today?
I think if it was my partner, the conversation would be, how do I present myself to you? How do you see me? Because sometimes we see ourselves completely different
Mhm,
than people see us. So if they're willing to be honest, how do you see me? Am I mean? Am I nice? Am I snarky?
mhm,
You know, because I might think I'm lovely. I
mhm.
might think I am pie
Perfect.
a la mode with some vanilla
Hello.
bean ice cream on top.
Okay, God did his thing when he made me.
Girl. So how and then be okay with how I see you
Mhm.
and let's work on this. So yeah, that would be my conversation now.
Okay.
And what do you like? What do I like?
Yeah.
Hey, what did you go watch a movie?
Mhm.
And let's talk about the movie because I want to see
Mhm.
your perspective.
Mhm. Mhm.
Maybe your
Mhm.
perspective is so far south than mine,
Right.
those type of things. I
And
mean,
I just
it's
want to
simple.
add, oh, sorry, go ahead.
No, no, no. I'm saying it's simple. It doesn't have to be complex.
I want to add when we ask this question, okay, be prepared for the answer. You may not like it, but
Yes.
but co- remember that in this moment we are attempting to create a safe space, an open space for communication. So if they tell you, well, you real mean to me in the mornings, and you be dissing me, don't get offended, don't yell, don't say, well, this because you did. Just really take it in and really respect their perspective, and maybe ask a couple more clarifying questions, but it's not to prove them wrong or make them see you how you see you. It's like she's saying, we might see ourselves differently, but allow that person to express to you, allow that person to share with you, and really, really take heed to what they're saying. Because maybe you do need to adjust your attitude in the morning, or
Mhm.
maybe you need to let them know, hey, before 9 o'clock, don't talk to me.
Right. Right.
Or whatever it might be.
It could be that. I'm not a morning person. Are you okay
Yes.
with that?
Yes. Yes.
So yeah.
Awesome. Okay, well, y'all have y'all challenge. As always, let me know how it goes in the comments. Let me know what was said. Let me know if your perspective of you aligned with what your partner said, and or if there were some differences. I'm real curious. I'm gonna ask that question too myself. So, Auntie Mommy, thank you. This was so
Thank you.
great.
Yes. I love
Please,
you so much, girl.
oh, I love you too.
So
Please let the people know. Do you have any projects? Can they find you anywhere? Anything you're working on? Please share.
I'm horrible. I am working on something that I'm going to get up soon, but that information, once I do post it, will be found on my Facebook page, which is Elisa Flowers. Um, I don't post a lot because I move too much. And then if you say squirrel, I'm gonna go in a whole different direction.
Yes.
So Elisa Flowers, it's Alisia Flowers. That's me. And I'm working on a historical house, but you already know about that. But girl, stuff is turning right now.
Mhm.
Boom. So it's starting to pick up some pace.
Yes.
And um, if you follow that, it's called Info Bloom. I'll have all that information on there.
Okay.
You will,
And I'll put it on the screen if you want to send it to me.
and that house, I love that house because when you were reading the bio, one thing I really do believe, we're like a house. Um, when your inside is jacked up, it's going to show up on your outside.
Mhm.
And this house, the inside is jacked up. And it's reflected on the outside, but the outside actually looks like it's still together a little bit,
Mhm.
but the inside is not.
Mhm.
And I posted about the door. I had a contractor come change the door for me. And the guy was so bad, he ended up leaving the frame. on the porch, just laying there, and people could walk in. And this is what I had to say about that. I said, the Bible says, guard your heart with all diligence.
Mhm.
And to me, which that door represented allowing people to come in and wreck your heart.
Mhm.
Be careful about that. Make sure your door, those things that protect who you are, not being over the top or crazy,
Yep.
but you just don't swing and let everybody, you're not a revolving door. You don't let
Yeah.
everybody come in and wreck your heart. So that's what that house reminded me of, because that door was
Mhm.
broken and tore up. Anybody could come in and wreck it.
Mhm.
So
Mhm.
don't let anybody in just to wreck your heart. Guard it.
Beautiful. Perfect way to end. Thank you so much. And thank you all for listening. Please remember to like, subscribe, and share this with somebody you know in a new relationship, in an old relationship, a lover girl like myself. Please share the episode and remember to subscribe. And we will see you guys next week. Thank y'all. Bye.
Bye.